welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and we're here today checking in on something many of you will hate. It's 8 Teferi Esper. Now, some of you who have watched my channel for a while may know and recall that I like to attack the worst fears of my viewers head on. So I will not shy away from playing decks with Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, and in this case, Teferi, the Time Raveler, basically 8 of them. I know that I will get people saying unsub and unfollow and dislikes and thumbs down, and I don't run from that. I strive on this channel to bring you the full MTG experience and cover decks that all kinds of different people need to know about, prepare for, and that some people, believe it or not, enjoy. So I do not shy away from these kind of things. You can hit unfollow, you can hit unsub. It will not stop me. The channel will progress forward and I will cover all kinds of decks. So here's what's up. We're playing Esper Control. We're using a similar package to last season with Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, and being the primary exile all your permanents strategy, with a Mastermind's Acquisition to go to the sideboard and fetch some one-ofs that can help actually end the game. Some new cards have snuck into the works. Augur of Bolas is probably my favorite. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 3 cards of your library, reveal an instant or sorcery, and put it in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in any order. Now, to be totally honest, if I want to optimize this deck, it's quite possible I shouldn't run this many Teferis, that I should trim on some Teferis to run things like Mortify, so that I have more instants and sorceries for Augur Bolas to hit more often, because there will be times where I reveal a Teferi in 2 lands and get no card. But we're trying to show off Teferis today. We're gonna 8 Teferi meme, people. I know. Worst meme ever. Tyrant Scorn. Destroy target creature with converted mana cost 3 or less, or return target creature to owner's hand. Normally, the return target creature to owner's hand isn't very good, and you're not sure that you want a card like this versus a card like Cast Down, which can remove a lot of creatures. But the bright side of Tyrant Scorn is that we have Augur Bolas in the deck, meaning even against control decks, we can bounce our Augur of Bolas and replay it to look at another 3 cards. This comes up again with Teferi, the Time Raveler. This card has a lot of text, and it actually takes some playing with to get used to. 1 white and a blue. Static ability. Each opponent can cast spells only at a time they can cast a sorcery. So not just only on their turn. They can't cast anything in their upkeep, end step, or draw step. Only when they could cast a sorcery. Crazy. Not in combat either, which also makes a big difference. +1, until your next turn, you may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. So this comes up as well, a few neat tricks. You can Kaya's Wrath on your opponent's turn, or Cry of the Canarium. You can Mastermind's Acquisition on your opponent's turn, and then cast a sorcery that you fetch, such as Clear the Mind or Unmoored Ego at instant speed. You can Thought Erasure in your opponent's draw step. So maybe we'll get to do this on camera, but we'll put some marks, we'll click the stops around our opponent's draw step. And after they draw a card, but before they're allowed to play it, you can Thought Erase. If it's a sorcery speed spell, which Teferi kind of dictates has to be, you can take it from them before they even get a chance to play it. And if it's a land, well, they drew a land. They're worse off anyway. Now, -3, this also has some text you may have missed. Return up to 1 target artifact, creature, or enchantment to owner's hand, draw a card. If you are in a control mirror and you don't have a use for casting your sorcery spells, you can minus just to draw cards. You can just straight up draw a card off this whenever you feel like. The other part of it that I often minus, I minus to return Augur Bolas to my hand. I draw a card, I play another Augur Bolas, and keep digging for the right spells. So a big reason, a card that might stand out in the sideboard right away, we'll cover the whole sideboard in a second, is search for Azcanta. So normally I would run this main deck, but this is another cut I made out of concession to Augur Bolas. Bolas cannot hit search for Azcanta. And we already have 4 Teferis and 4 more Teferis in the deck. So to make it more likely that we hit often with Bolas, the search for Azcanta is moved to the sideboard where it can be fetched with the Mastermind's Acquisition. So that's an important reason that's there. To make up for the lack of card advantage from Azcanta, we have all 4 Chemist's Insights in the deck to help us get through it. The rest of the Mastermind's acquisition package, Healing Grace, can buy you an extra turn if you have exactly 5 mana and you need to stay alive and get 1 more draw step. Duress can go take the Settle the Wreckage. I'm just kidding. That's an ode to a previous video. Duress, though, is sometimes what you need to fetch. I've had cases where I know that my opponent has a Vivian Reed in hand, and I Masterminds for the Duress and take it, rather than Masterminds for a counter, which I couldn't cast that turn. Price of Betrayal, 5 counters from an artifact, creature, or planeswalker. Sometimes you'll have to get rid of your opponent's Teferi, and Price of Betrayal is a really cheap way to do that. The Search for His Content we covered. Invoke the Divine. You can bet, the Immortal Sun must die, whatever. Clear the Mind, shuffle it all back in if you're out of cards in your deck. Unmoored Ego, take the whatever is annoying you. Hydroid Crasises all away. The opponent's Teferis, whatever. Lyra Dawnbringer. Whew. Just get that life going against that red deck. The Mirari Conjecture, do it. Just get another Mastermind. When you don't know what to fetch Mirari Conjecture, get your Mastermind's acquisition back, and then double it a turn later and go get 2 other things. Liliana the Dreadhorde General. A different kind of finisher and just a power card to go fetch. Ethereal Absolution. Takes out the small creatures, shuts down Adanto the First Fort, and pretty much the whole white deck. Nezahal the Primal Tide is my favorite pet to end games with. Sanguine Sacrament is a fun one against red. Of course, just gain endless life. Blast Zone. So every now and then I have to Masterminds for a land, so I may as well make it a good land. So I have Blast Zone in here for the decks that play a bunch of cards and permanents and go wide that I might be able to blow up, and I have Field of Ruin in here for the decks that play as Kanta. Alright, that covers the deck. Let's go out and play some games with this naughty 8 Teferi pile. Super curious where I will be ranked today. I left in the top 1,000. I come home and I'm sure it'll be a percent. I just don't know what percent. Anyway, our opening hand is sweet. 98%. All right, battling back to it. Here comes the Legion's Landing. Let's lead with a Godless Shrine so we can pair it with Drowned Catacomb and have access to all the colors next turn. This looks like it'll be tough. White aggro on the play with the Legion's Landing might be hard to keep it from flipping, and we might have to take a lot of damage to do it. But as you see, we do have the tools, as long as our opponent doesn't play 2 creatures a turn for several turns in a row. Alright, what to kill, what to destroy. The Hunted Witness could keep the token off the battlefield, but I think I have to play for damage, so I'm going right after the Skymarcher Aspirant. Make sure you select the right mode. I've made some mistakes. Mistakes have happened. So next turn, the Time Raveler will come down and bounce something. Wow, our opponent actually did it. They're going to get to probably flip this. Yeah, they're going to get to flip the landing unless I draw Cry of the Canarium, which is really bad for us. But they basically played 1, then 2 creatures, which is hard to do, but not impossible, as we see. Alright. A flipped landing's a huge problem for us. But we've got to bounce this Tithe Taker, minus the Teferi, draw that card, set up the Kaya's Wrath. Augur Bolus is helpful against this deck. Much more helpful on turn 2, of course. Oh boy. Well, I'm actually really happy about that, I think. Yeah, because now I get to Wrath away the Marshal. What are you protecting? Nothing now because it was the Tithe Taker. Sweet. We will meet again. I should have checked that before, but it's still nice to know. And does the opponent play land and Tithe Taker? No. Alright. Blow them. Blow them up. Get them off the board. Uh-huh. Witness leaves behind a token. You can bet that Time Taker is going to join. Now, usually, I was about to say, usually when I make this wonderful play, it's always a History of Benalia to follow up. The opponent would never not History of Benalia to follow up my Wrath. Ever. No attack. Curious decision. Alright. Let's see if we can find another Wrath. A Cry of the Canarium would be ideal, because Augur Bolus lives through it. An Absorb. Well, That's unfortunate that we had to reveal it when we already had one in hand, because now the opponent gets to play in such a way to torture us. They just can make 1/1s forever and never play into the absorb. They're doing it main phase too. Don't like that. Well, I mean, I like it. And the opponent's still a bit of a coward to the Augur Bolus, so that's nice. Enter tapped. Pass turn. We're down to pretty much this Vraska's Contempt. Our opponent doesn't have to play spells for the rest of the game, and they know about this Absorb because it was the only thing we could take. It's possible I should have whiffed instead. That might be a little next level, and it's still possible I should have done it. Well, It's a good play on the opponent's part because they know that I don't want to leave up Settle the Wreckage. If I let it resolve, our opponent might attack awkwardly. They might not attack with everything, which I guess is the risk I have to take. We're still looking for that Cry of the Canarium, though. Yeah, they're not playing around anything. Alright, so let's take out a token and keep the Augur for one more turn of survivalage. Let's play the Vraska's Contempt. Exiling you, I suppose? What are you defending anyway? Yep. That's what I thought. Down to 5. Alright, Cry of the Canarium, please. It really must be now. I'd take a Wrath, but I'd prefer a Cry. And that's brutal. There's the Teferi in there. Ugh. So mean. Let's see, block, go to 1. We're not quite dead. And we would be dead if our opponent used their Adantos a little closer to correctly. Oh wait, no we wouldn't. Our Augurs would still live. Alright, so let's block here. Get that off the board. Nope, not double. Block here, get that up, turned into a 1/1. So that if we draw a Wrath, it's good. And go to 1. That is not a Cry of the Canarium. Alright, good game. For whom the bell tolls, right? It tolls for us this time. This hand is on the draw and it's slow. I don't think we can mulligan it though. We're like the right card drawn away from being in a really good spot, that card being a Watery Grave or really any land that isn't tapped, and there we go. Shockland will do, and now our hand is gorgeous, so sometimes you gotta take that risk, I think. I don't hide from it too often. Red-white Steamkin, this might be a feather type deck, so let's drop the Augur and get cooking. Okay, that's two Augur whiffs in a row, which I haven't actually ever had happen with the deck. So you're seeing it here today, folks. The tilt train is leaving the station. That's beautiful. That's great. Get those out of here. Where were you against the white deck? I guess I'll forgive you this time. Alright, the Legionnaire hits the battlefield. The opponent's constrained on mana, which is both a bad thing and a good thing. The bad news is eventually they'll draw lands and their hand will get a lot better. Let's go ahead and use the Teferi time. I'm pretty much always looking for this play pattern. If I can get rid of their only threat to draw a card and work my way through the deck, I'm so happy to do it. I don't really care if this Teferi dies most of the time, as long as I get to bounce a thing, draw a card. Like this, like that taking the opponent's turn is also totally fine. I bet we get a nice quick scoopsies here from the spam of the Teferis.
I am not going to sit this one out. We need to move quickly.
We are missing double blue. I think it'll be okay. Let's hold this back. There's haste creatures in the deck. The Legionnaire has haste. Oh wait, there it is. The 10th District Legionnaire does have the hasties. And our opponent stuck on 2 lands. Our draw pretty much uneffable. Hand's pretty good. We don't have any removal. We might get run over, but being on the play, I'll take the risk. When you got your colors and you got some spells, what else can you ask for? You just do your Esper thing. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That ain't good. That's pretty good. So, yeah, let's go for the erasure. See what's up with them. Light up the stage, we can take that away. Then this is what they play and we scorn it. And we take a whole bunch of damage probably, but that's life. We could also let them have the light up the stage and not the field, but I think taking light up the stage is always pretty high priority. That's good. I can take out the field. Lava Runner can get him for 2 damage a turn without casting spells for a while. Oh, okay, that's weird. But do what you gotta do. And the Fury, okay. Well, now they have less to do with their field. I'm going to, because I know they have Wizard's Lightning, I'm going to, nope, hold on. Destroy. Make sure I pick Destroy. Okay, I did. I was scared for a second I selected Return. I'm so paranoid about it after messing it up a time or two. Since I know they have a Wizard's Lightning, let's kill their Wizard. Now I'm sure we'll see that Electrostatic Field. We'll see that Fanatical Firebrand. Attacking in. But I'm at 14. I have some time. I could go fetch a Lyra now. Also, bouncing this is pretty good. Making the opponent play this again. I could do that instead of Contempting. Just to get deeper in the deck and try to set up better. But it feels like I should probably be throwing off this Vraska's Contempt. And if I do it on the Firebrand, that'll prevent basically as... It kind of gains back life for as much as I would take from the Firebrand, and this is really what I want to bounce. Alright, let's get rid of it. No free damage. You have to cast spells and do things to damage me. The only big downside is if I draw Cry of the Canarium, which would be a pretty sad draw now. Alright, keep flooding. Stupid Firebrand. I also want to make it so they have to burn the Teferi, so getting rid of the Firebrand would be nice. The Augur can help with that, but it can't find a land. So what's the play? We could also Mastermind and go get Lyra, but I need the land for Lyra. Probably the best case scenario is I can Augur into a Thought Erasure here. We've already played one. I could also Augur into another Tyrant Scorn. We've also played one. There's only 4 in the deck. Seems unlikely. So how about I Teferi into a land and then play the Augur? That's probably even better.
This isn't a fight you can win. This might be a bad idea.
Did it. I'll even pay the life here, which isn't ideal, of course, but now the Fanatical has to sacrifice if it wants to get to the Teferi, and finding a Vraska's Contempt gets that life back. The opponent could try to ignore Teferi, which I wouldn't blame them. But it is an annoying card. Most people kill it on sight even when they don't have to, and there you go.
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. It's a Poison song. I can't help myself. Going upstairs, ignoring the Augur, down to 8. Alright. Do I have time to Lyra? If our opponent draws Bolt Bolt, I die. Let's play it safe. Let's just get rid of this first, then go get Lyra. Alright, Pyro takes me to 8. Outside the game, please. Where are you at? Where you at, girl? Now we could also get the Sanguine Sacrament to gain 6 life. That might be enough to put this game out of reach. But I like going with the Lyra here. I think I've got the time for it. The opponent would have to draw really perfect to even come close. Alright. So now I'll be at 6 and they'll have 1 top deck before Lyra starts hitting. Should be good. Should be good. Go get him, Dawnbringer. Yes. Red mage down. Ooh. So this hand is tough. It does have a Wrath. It has an Absorb I can't play without another blue source. And we're on the draw. It's a pretty rough one, but I'm still going to keep it. It's got my colors. It's got spells I can cast. It has a sweeper to catch me up if my opponent's a little slow. The aggressive decks on the format can beat you really fast with hands like these, but I still just don't feel right mulliganing them. You're at a certain disadvantage being on the draw already. I think it's a bit too much of, I don't know, optimism to just think that you can mulligan into a better curve when you have a Wrath already. So, there you go. Unclaimed territory for Night, and it looks like Abzan Knights is here. Night of Grace into Night of Autumn. This is playing right into the Wrath strategy. Oh. So, do I save the Absorb? Or do I run out the Teferi to slow my opponent down? I think we'll just hold up Absorb, see what the opponent does. I think they'll play nothing, though. See, this is part of the problem. I kind of want my opponent to keep making plays, but if I bounce something at the thing of theirs, that looks like Wrath appropriate too. So, like, that doesn't really play into the Wrath. So you have to decide when to pick your spots with Teferi. And the opponent is continuing to cast Knights, so that's the good news. Bad news, we're gonna have to shock here, go to 9, and see if the opponent can rebuild. They have all spells in hand. You can tell because they didn't play a land. And those spells can be dangerous. Oh no! Oh no! What have I done? What have I done? I can't cast Kaya's Wrath.
Excellent timing.
I know better. I really do know better, you guys. I know so much better than that. Bailed out? Maybe. Maybe my opponent can somehow pump and kill me anyway. Oh god, I do know better. What happened to me? I take a little trip for the weekend. I come back with no skills. Uh-oh. That's bad. That prevents wrathing, but we have to do it anyway. So, boom. We do have the backup Wrath. So once we get through this bodyguard... Radiant Destiny. Well, that will get me to 2, but it will let me untap with the Teferi, most likely. Wait, hexproof from white, right? Right, okay. I can't Teferi you. I have to Wrath you. Awkward. Yeah, that little moment. Oops. I would have absorbed this Knight a long time ago if I had been paying better attention to everything. I regret my choices, but I can't fix them. All I can do is battle.
Not so fast.
All I can do is battle and try to be a more worthy mage of my cards. Maybe some of you have been there where you made a stupid misplay. Probably not in front of thousands of people. I will tell you, it's not the first time and it won't be the last. But you just gotta fight. Alright. So this thing has to die or I die. So what do I have that I can fix this? Boom. Bada boom. I think I just search my library for Tyrant Scorn to be safe, and then I still have 4 mana open to Absorb or Insight. So search my library for a card. There they are. For some reason, located way on the end. It's like they know what I need. Destroy. Doing it main phase in case they run something like Unbreakable Formation. Something that would annoy me to no end and mess me up. And now with Absorbs ready, we should be pretty good. The opponent still hasn't drawn a land in this game. And now we Insight, but yeah, this is gonna start spiraling away from our Knight's opponent who almost got there.
No time for a break.
Almost took full advantage of my errors. Augur. 3 auger whiffs in this video. I swear I hadn't actually had any. So I might want to cast an Insight and an Absorb. So playing the untapped land here, does that do anything? No, because I'm going to untap 2 lands with Teferi anyway, so I may as well play the tap land. But yeah, if you want to increase your chances for not whiffing with, if you want to increase your auger lottery chances, you can cut the Teferis, or some amount of the Teferis. Yep, that's fine. And instead run Mortify and cards of that nature. Maybe more Tyrant Scorn, maybe more Cast Downs. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Gain the life back. Insight again.
Let's skip to the good part.
Now the bad news is that we used our Chemisters or not our Chemisters Insight, but our Mastermind's Inquisition, and we didn't get a win con. So now our win con is actually Augur of Bolas after Teferi exiles their deck, which is not fun. 20 attacks is a lot to do. Oh my goodness. That swamp is really stinging. Let's get rid of a history. I'm sure they'll draw another white eventually. Can't turn down a Vraska's Contempt when you're in this spot. It's too good. Also, we can play this Augur now and hit. We know the opponent doesn't have another removal spell up their sleeve. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, yep, with 6 mana open, we can Chemisters twice, should we choose to. The opponent found another land, but they're not going to pay the life to put it in untapped. Okay. It's kind of a white flag in its own way. Since they could have made plays this turn and just chose, nah, I'm not even paying the 2 life. Alright. Let's draw with Teferi.
You know what? I'm not done yet.
Swing with Augur. Let's play other Teferi. I'm going to go ahead and minus to do the Augur trick, just as something that I've wanted to show you guys. But getting back your owner Augur Bolas, drawing a card, getting deeper in the deck, getting more cards. In this case, we'll also erase some thoughts while we're at it. Get rid of the Benalias because they create multiple bodies. Keep the other Augur because it's our win con now, he said with kind of a ha ha ha. Alright. Bit of a smirk when calling Augur Bolas the win con, but it is what it is. At least there are creatures in the deck. New 8 Teferi plays with creatures. Old 4 Teferi, not so much. So I can cry that. It's fine. I can't cry that. I can contempt it. Why am I so bad at Magic? Alright. I'm trying to play it. I'm going to play this pretty loose. I'm going to try to play it right but quickly, and I'm probably going to miss something along the way, just so you all know. You might want to shift into 2x speed if you haven't already. Hit the gear on YouTube, and you can choose a different speed amount if you so wish. This is something that people who complain about how slow I play or the speed of decks that I play, just so you know, you have the power. Alright, untap those lands, say go. Expecting Valiant Knight to join the battlefield, we'll start absorbing things, because we can. Yep. Yeah, that game is certainly over. It was a close one, it was a scary one. We got there. So we've got a nice curve with Tyrant Scorn, Absorb, and Time Raveler. Should be able to hold off most things, and it's on the play, so let's dance. Yeah, if I were to cut the Time Ravelers from the deck and play good old 4 Teferi, I would play 2 of the Dovin's thingy. What is it? Dovin's Veto? Yeah, I'd play that. Just so you know, in case you're interested out there. I guess I'll hold up the Tyrant Scorn here, but I don't know that I want to Scorn a Sky Marcher. I probably do. It looks like mono, good old mono white, but let's see what they play. They could always go Swamp Vampire thingy. Alright, So in response to the Tithe Taker, let's destroy target creature with converted mana cost 3 or less. And then we're going to Teferi the Tithe Taker.
Sorry I'm late.
Alright, get that out of here.
Here we go.
Puts us pretty well on the front foot. If the opponent replays the Tithe Taker, we'll have a problem, but they might play Benalia instead. Alright, they go for Tithe Taker and probably another 1-drop, a Snubhorn. Okay, well Snubhorn's not the best against us. So, we'll plus this because there's nothing else to do with it. I don't think we can defend it now. We can hold up a counter or we can cast Chemister's Insight on our turn. I suppose a counter here is good. The counters generally against this deck aren't that good. So getting to counter whatever they play this turn might be very important. It's usually a pretty good play, and if they pass doing nothing, that doesn't bother me either. If they play something cheap though, something pretty weak, it's going to be a tough call of whether or not to let that resolve. And instead they do nothing, which that doesn't bother me either. I'll just pay 2 life and say go as well. And we'll do the Absorb Dance, and hopefully they do nothing again and let me use a Chemister's. They saw me pay the life, so they know I want to. Yep, let's not. But the opponent played it well. That's the way you're probably supposed to do it. But if they're running out of Marshall for a counter, they either have another Benalish Marshall or History of Benalia or a Loxodon. But it does show that their hand is not the great. So if we play Teferi here, there's a good chance it gets Conclave Tribunal. I don't know what else the opponent would be sitting on. We could minus on the Tithe Taker, though, to get some value and get that off the field. Is that better or worse than one of our own cards? I think it's better.
I can no longer. Let's take
Just get that annoying thing out of here and buy time for Chemisters to hopefully save me. And if the opponent doesn't have a Conclave Tribunal, we're sitting pretty. Okay, that's another good way to do it. I had a feeling they had another Marshall, but sometimes you gotta take your chances. Ooh. Let's main phase this and then decide whether or not to play that Absorb, or play the land untapped for the Absorb. Well, like, this board isn't that threatening. I feel like I could play the Augur Bolus next turn, pay the life this turn, have Absorb open. And the opponent's pretty floody, so we've got a good chance in this game. Their draw is not nearly as good as the first time we played white today. Alright, let's report the Augur to the battlefield. Ooh, Thought Erasure. Probably not going to hit much. Our opponent's hand can't be very good, but we'll go after it anyway. There's the Tribunal. Get that off the top of our deck. We've got enough land, thank you. Play this tapped because we know our opponent's drawing the Tithe Taker, which we can absorb. We have ascended the snubs. I am going to block with the Augur. Might as well gain my 3 life while I can. And gain 3 more from this Absorb. Or in this case, it was actually 4 life. Snubby with 4 power and such. I think I like just playing this now. See what we get. We might get a Wrath, and then we wouldn't want to play the Contempt yet. Alright. Our opponent's super Wrath vulnerable, so keep your fingers crossed. If we find one, we're in a good spot. Like, do I take this damage to try to dig deeper for this Wrath, or do I hold up this Contempt? I think I take this damage. I think most people would Contempt the Marshal right away, but let's keep digging. And the open mana, of course, keeps our opponent from adding to their board. There's a Time Raveler. That is, now you see Time Raveler plus Thought Erasure, which is quite the pairing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We can clean up the board. Let's give it a shot.
Let's slow this down.
Which one to bounce? Well, if the opponent has something else that we want to take, taking the Benalish Marshal is more expensive, but they have plenty of mana. It's one of those things where I don't think it matters very much. And we got him. And Mastermind's on top. Lovely. All right, we'll say go and see what the opponent chooses to attack with Snubhorn Sentry. They attack the Teferi. I think I just let it be and hold the Absorb up. They're attacking face. I think either way we can take it and hold up Absorb. Lawrune Enforcer. So next turn we're going to Mastermind. We could get Kaya's Wrath, which would pretty much shut down everything. But it's a temporary solution. I would prefer to get Ethereal Absolution. In which case letting this resolve is no big deal. So now that I know what my opponent's playing for the turn, let's use a Vraska's Contempt on the Snubhorn Sentry. Lawrune's just a little 1/2. It is a good addition to the white deck. Tap target creature with converted mana cost 2 or greater. A good way to keep your creatures getting in there if you're the white deck. They have flooded hard, by the way. Feel a little bad, but we did need vengeance somehow.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
All right, so I want to Mastermind for, is it Absolution? You know what, we'll get Liliana, but I can do it on end step because I've used the Teferi ability. So let's play the Augur Bolas. Let's whiff. Yes, classic Bolas Augur. The opponent is probably a land draw away from tilt. All right. I mean, is that going to matter? I don't think so. I think I can compete with this okay. So Lawrune can tap the Augur, and then they can attack him for 2, but we're going to get the Dreadhorde going. All right. From outside the game. Ethereal Absolution's so brutal, though, too. It basically shuts down the landing forever. Still, I want to win with a new card. I want to put on a show. Plus that, add flash. Opponent's running the timer a little bit. Now they have the Lawrune Enforcer activation. Maybe they didn't. Not used to having that. It's a new card. It happens. Or it's the salty ropes. You make it up, chat. You assume you know what my opponent is thinking. Is it the salty ropes? Or is it went to get beverage, forgot about Lawrune Enforcer? Boom shakalaka.
Average zombie horde.
Sacrifice things. And we'll draw a card from the Bolas dying.
Death is enlightening.
Haha. Alright. You can enter tapped. Card off the top. Sky Marcher. Yeah, that's fine. I'll find a way to deal with that. I'm not afraid.
Rise and shine.
I'll protect you.
Teferi will protect me? Well, thank God. I was so worried. I don't think that there's really a point to having 2, and there's no ultimate. So playing this as a removal spell here is fine.
There goes nothing.
1, 2, 3. We'll put up 4 for the insight and pass turn. Keep tearing through the deck. Sure. Trying to save Absorb for specifically like a Conclave Tribunal. That might be a bit too conservative, but with all these insights, I'm confident I can keep drawing into ways to kill a 2/1. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see.
Good health is easy.
All right, so we get to do the Thought Erasure trick that I described in the intro. So I'm going to try to show that to you here in just a moment, where we Thought erase the opponent in their draw step with Teferi, which is sick and gross and should never be done. All right, another Absorb. May as well. And I guess I'll play this Teferi. This is the removal spell we found.
Let's slow this down. You need to slow down.
And I guess I'll pay 2 life for this one. So, I mean, I shouldn't need Absorb and Thought Erasure, so that was probably a mistake. That's just a flex. So, opponent draws, and then there's a stop because we bracketed with our stops. Then we thought erasure. Oh, planes. Whiff. All right. But that's how you do the trick. In case any of you are looking for a way to make thought erasure more annoying. There's a Tyrant Scorn. All right, plus city over here. Once again, I'm just going to try to be fast.
Hurry!
Game should be in the bag.
Smelly, but effective.
So if I miss a sweet play, it's in service of being faster than the average at this stage of the game. And your turn. We do have the Tyrant Scorn that could bounce the Augur to keep getting deeper if we so chose. The opponent's deciding, it's definitely a conscious choice at this point to play it out. They know I have an Absorb, they can see it. And there's the scoop. Ooh, almost back to that top 1,000 with Esper. All right, we're on the edge. I hope some of you control enthusiasts out there enjoyed 8 Teferi Esper. I hope those of you who hate Teferi and still bothered to watch picked up some tips about how the deck works and can theory craft some ways to beat it. And in general, I, as always, hope you enjoyed the video. Please go check out flipsidegaming.com where you can order War of the Spark, or you can pre-order Modern Horizons. Use the promo code CGB, get 10% off of your order, and also get entered to win an entire booster box of War of the Spark, and you support the channel at the same time. The more details in the description. Promotion ends on May 6th, so hurry on over to flipsidegaming.com. Thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, or leave a comment. You can also support the channel on Patreon for special perks. Links are in the description. Our sponsors are HauntedFlower.com and FlipsideGaming.com. Haunted Flower sells officially licensed MTG apparel and accessories, and Flipside Gaming sells MTG cards and supplies. You can save 10% on either site with the promo code CGB, and it supports the channel at the same time. See you next time for another day in the arena. For now, it's me, it's CGB, signing out.